Good afternoon, all. CamelbackTrading.org coming to you this Monday afternoon, August 10th, and we are looking at the last 2 days of the SPY ETF's market profile here on Window Trader. So, who won today? Did the bulls win? Yes, they did. If convincingly, absolutely not. Absolutely not. But after going out with a price probe on Friday, closing at the week's high, we already take out last week's high on a gap higher. Doesn't hold. We filled it in the initial balance. They attempt to flush weak longs and shorts piling on in C and D, only to get absolutely rejected. We end 11 wide. We end with higher value all day. Volume horrendous, 40 million with the after hours still to come. So I think I'll explain more when I do the daily charts. The charts are very healthy, monthly, weekly, daily. But I think the daily buyers are starting to get a little tired. And I think if they don't get what they want soon, which is obviously the all-time high in both the SPY and ES, if they don't get that, I think we could get some weak longs puke it up, and it would delay the all-time high to at least later in the week, if not next week. As far as my trades today, we had a good day. We had a very good day in the room. We called the market very well today. The algos behaved very well, and when that happens, it makes it a very good read on the market and to take good trades, and that's what happened today. I didn't take many trades after E period. I got the afternoon pullback low in G and the afternoon rally high in L. They worked out beautifully. But before that, A period. So I took a long in A when we got below the opening, but held the gap. I was doing that against the price probe. Everything I traded today was today's expiration. These were the 334 calls. Got back above the opening. That worked out for a nice trade. Then, when we came back in again, I took a short play. I took the 336 puts, thinking that we would not hold the gap. It worked out, nothing spectacular. I got out of it because then actually, you know what? I apologize. That was B. I'm looking at my thing going, I'm saying, I see that I wrote one-time framing down. I'm like, I made money on that short. That was in B period. I wrote A again. So I apologize. When B took out A's low, so I only took the long in A, and that worked out. When B took out A's low, I took the 336 put for a couple of reasons. We're now one-time framing down. I thought it would at least test the price probe, which it did, worked out, got out of it. Now, C period. C period flushed pretty good. Now, if you watch my morning video, I said, look, if we open above here but get accepted into M's range and get accepted below the price probe, good chance you're going to trade. You're definitely going to trade to POC, and then you're going to trade to possibly M's low. And that's exactly what it did. So when that happened, I took a short again in C period as we were one-time framing down below the opening. Once we got below the opening, took it down, and then took it all off at POC. So that worked out very nicely. It was a very nice trade. And actually, before that, I took a long in C because C open, stayed above the opening, actually got long and took it up to around B's high. So I actually had a long in C first and then a short in C, which worked out very nice. Then in D period, now we had single prints. D took out C's low right away. So generally, you don't get single prints to fill right away. If it didn't take out C's low, I wouldn't have done this. But a couple of times in D period, I took shorts as we came up back to the POC, took it, it came back in. A couple of times did that. I think 2 or 3 times on the 335 puts and the 335 puts also in C period. And the reason I went to those is because that's where the single prints had gotten filled and B's low. That's why I went to those in C and D period. Then got out of those puts. It was nice. E period open. I said, look, they took back a lot of this. I said, if E takes out D's high, those singles are filling. And that's exactly what happened, and that's exactly what I did. I got long in E period as soon as we popped these high to 334 calls, looking to fill the single prints, filled them, went up to POC, took it off, nice trade. Then G, I was looking for an afternoon pullback low, right? Now the indices weren't strong, the market wasn't very strong. Initially I said, do we look for an afternoon rally high? But I was like, you know what, if we take out F's high and get above the opening, we're going to be too close to the day's high, and we're going to most likely take it out. I said, maybe we look for an afternoon pullback, and that's what we got. We got a reversal bar, got long. At the time, it was around values low, took it back up to POC. That was a nice trade. And then in L period, I said, if we pop the top, I'll take a put play. I did, but I didn't take anything of size because the way L and M have been acting lately, I wasn't too crazy about it. If this had popped the day's high in, say, I, J, or K, I would have absolutely have taken a nice size put play to look to get back to POC. But because it was L, I did not take a big one, but it worked out nicely. And that was the last trade I did. It was really a low stress day because any trade we entered in the room was at very visual points where our risk reward was excellent. That low here in G, you can get out below at the time, value low or E low. Same with the put play. It never got acceleration above A. So they were all decent plays. The ones in C and D when it flushed out. So it was a pretty good day. Now, let's go over destinations. For the upside, I'm only giving you today's high because you should have all the others that I gave in this morning's video. So the upside is only 335.77, today's high. For the downside, we have 335.01, which was 11 out of 13 wide, which was H's low. Then we have 334.34, G's low, afternoon pullback low. Below that, we have today's low of 332.96, 332.20, daily low, poor low, and then you should have the other one filling the gap. Now, real quick before we get to the charts, if you kind of look with your mind, you take away C and D. If you start the day from E, when it took out D's high, say this was the beginning of the day, E, F, G, it turns into a P shape. Now, it's obviously not a P shape, but it kind of turns into a P shape. So all this was in C and D were the week longs from a weekly gap higher, and then shorts trying to pile on. And once they lost that battle when E took out D's high, never saw it again. Isn't that amazing? Short-term traders, they're very mechanical. They're very good to trade against. Know your competition. Monthly, one-time framing up. This is month 4. Healthy. Weekly, one-time framing up. Week 6 right now as we took out last week's high. All-time high is the next destination. So here's the thing that is going to decide, I think, whether we get the all-time high this week or, say, next week. The daily is one-time framing up, no doubt. We had that outside day, what was that? Outside day down or up? I forgot what it even was last week. But anyway, for the most part, we're one-time framing up. But here's the issue for me. Balance up, balance up. Now, we are up, but we're in a 4-day balance. So since Wednesday's high of since the gap higher on when we got that high on Wednesday, 330, what kind of distance are we getting away from here? And it's not a lot, right? If buyers here, so Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday, these last 4 days, Wednesday's high was 332.39. Today's 335.77. Yeah, we've gone $3 higher, but that's in 4 days. Now, they're not worried because we're one-time framing up. But I'm telling you, if tomorrow we don't get away from this to the upside and start attacking the all-time high, if we take out either, say, today's low, or if tomorrow we trade sideways again and then on Wednesday take out Tuesday's low, they're going to give it up, I think, and flush out and probably get this gap. So for my money's worth, if we don't get acceleration in the next 2 days to get the all-time high, and get distance away from these 4 days, I think the short-term buyers are going to give it up, and then it's going to take to either late this week or next week to get the all-time high. I hope you had a good day trading today. We had a really good room in CamelbackTrading.org's trading room. Come check us out. Remember, we have the webinar. I'll repost that again on Twitter coming up this Saturday. Have a great night, and we'll speak prior to the opening